Okay, good. So mindset really is everything. And I do think that these particular pictures, the reason why I picked them out is because it really is about thinking in ways that's like bigger than you know, and it's not all about just you. But when you think about your mindset, it has a lot to do with who you are and how you view yourself, you know. And this really makes kind of, you know, you've all heard the cliche, if you think you can, right? And I really think that this plays a big part. You know, you got to kind of see yourself that way. But why is it important to have the right mindset now? I'm going to kind of take that up, you know, above and beyond just how you view yourself, and think of it in terms of the mindset that you need to have right now. As I kind of touched on this last night, while the market's dead, you know, I know there's a little bit of action here. You know, anytime someone sees a green candle on a chart, they're like, oh, here we go. Well, that was the weekly chart. And the further you go, you never know what you're going to see, right? We see a lot of consolidation here. This is the 12-hour chart. This is just, right now, we're just dead in the water. And oftentimes I think what people have is a mindset when they're thinking about the markets is when the market's dead, they're kind of dead. You know, they're kind of like, well, nothing's going on, so I'm just going to kind of wait until something happens. Let me tell you something. The people that wait until something happens, for them, nothing ever happens. You know, things just pass them by. You're sitting on the sidelines. And what I always try to help people understand is catch the market while it's sleeping. And it couldn't be more true than right now. Okay. If you look at Tectum, we're at a $2 price right now. This isn't up to date. I'm going to go ahead and go to the login page so you can see. But the exact market cap right now, or the soft cap, I should say, is around 315,000. Okay. So it's somewhere between 40 and 40,000 a week, maybe 50,000 a week of tokens that are being sold. And, you know, it's no wonder. I mean, in the market, what happens is most people develop a mindset where the market just kind of dictates how they think. And you've probably heard of the word FOMO. And if you haven't heard of that, FOMO stands for fear of missing out. And what happens a lot of times in the market, and this is just a pattern that's so consistent, and I'm going to go back a little ways on Bitcoin to show the example. It's kind of like once the market goes up a little bit, then oftentimes you'll see it just keep going up because people get more and more confident as it goes up. And then the big money, what they do is they come in and they start taking the money of the people who push it up. Okay, so a lot of people get excited. The big money takes it here and everybody gets excited and starts saying, look, Bitcoin's going up. It's going to make an all-time high. It's going to be great. Well, it does make an all-time high. And I've fallen victim to this too. Okay, I'm not immune to it. I've done the same thing. If you've done it, you can relate to me. I try to learn my lesson and I still struggle with this. Okay, it's just an easy thing to do. It's hard to have that contrary mindset that you need to have as an investor. Okay, because once that you should be, whenever the market takes a big jump, and you can never catch the top. I don't care what anybody says. You can't catch the exact top. Nobody knows. But you're supposed to be selling when the market's exploding and buying whenever it's going down. Okay. But oftentimes what everybody has a tendency to do, which is the reason why the market catches the momentum it catches, is because people start jumping in when it's too late. You know, you should have gotten in a long time ago around this area. But a lot of people will say, oh, look, the market's going up. I'm jumping in because if I don't, I'm going to miss out. I'm going to miss out when Bitcoin hits its next all-time high and all that. And then you find yourself, a lot of times people that trade, they end up margining their accounts because they keep making emotional decisions, you know, and that's just kind of how it works. And a lot of times I know that it's the same thing when people are looking at this soft cap, they're thinking, you know, it's not really moving that much. So I'm kind of just wait and see, you know, see what happens. You know, I don't know what's going to happen. So let's just kind of wait and see, catch the vision, learn, understand. Listen, if you don't understand the vision of what's going on right now with Tectum and what this thing's going to become, you got to think long term. You can't think now. You can't live in this very moment and think, well, everything's kind of slow. No, that's when everybody's sleeping. That's when you can catch it. Because like I've said before, the early bird catches the worm, but you got to see a vision. You got to see way past where we are now. You got to see down the road, right? And that's what helps you stay consistent when things are slow. You know, when the market's down and the market's slow, as I like to show in this daily chart, and the market's really slow, and we're just consolidating like we are now. If you look at this, we've been in a consolidating kind of period or downward period for a long time. This is the time, okay? Because when Bitcoin starts to explode, everything explodes. You guys know that when it comes to crypto, as soon as Bitcoin starts jumping up into this range and we get some momentum going and everybody can kind of tell that everything's bullish, well, you're going to look back and think, man, why wasn't I bullish when everybody else wasn't? You should be bullish, but you should also be bullish with Tectum now, because this is the slower time. This is when you can catch everybody sleeping. Mike Tyson, I don't know if you guys know the boxer Mike Tyson, but he's one of my favorite athletes of all time. I used to love to watch him just about more than any other athlete, especially more than any other boxer. And what Mike Tyson used to say is that he would get up at like 5 a.m, right? When he said they'd be like, why do you get up so early? Sometimes even earlier, sometimes 4 a.m. And they would ask him, why do you get up so early in the morning? And he would say, because he knows that his opponents are sleeping. He knows that he's going to get in an awesome workout while his opponents aren't working. And he knows he can outwork his opponents. He feels like he has that edge. And that's the edge, So I don't want you to think, gosh, I wonder what's going on. Realize we've only got what it says here. Users registered, it says 3,179. And probably half of those don't even have any tokens. Okay, so there's really only maybe 1,500 people in here that are active, that are like actually have tokens. Do you realize how infinitesimal that is? How small that is? And understand that the market, just like sales, just like our token, okay, just like our soft cap and this pre-sale, you're going to have ebbs and flows. You're going to have when it's really cranking. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, but when we were at $1 and we were coming down on the final stretch of like the last 500,000, man, those things went quick because the momentum kicked in. Then we hit $2. Then the Bitcoin market crashed even more. And everybody just kind of sat and went, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. And they let their emotions get the best of them. I'm telling you, be a contrary thinker. Let your mindset think beyond what's going on right now. And that's what I recommend as far as you guys with your approach, because this is important. Listen, I don't care what the market's doing right now. I don't care what the soft cap's doing right now. We've got a window of time, and that window of time isn't going to change based on the market. Okay, it might a little bit. We might decide, yeah, let's wait a little bit. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't pull the trigger. That's really Alex's decision. He makes those calls. But I can tell you right now, as long as we're in a lull, you should be thinking this is candy like a baby. This is like you're a kid in a candy store. That's what I was looking for, the words. You're a kid in a candy store right now. It's kind of like if you're going to go in and take the candy, we don't want to do it while everybody's trying to get candy. You want to do it while nobody's around. You're going to get the best candy, right? You're going to go into that store and you're going to find the best candy available because nobody else is in there with you. And that's kind of the way you got to think about it. And it really is true that the early bird gets the worm. And I'm trying to just drill a mindset into you right now, because over the next 6 to 8 weeks is a crucial period for you. Okay. We are still developing. You're an early adopter. You've got to be one of those people that catches the worm. And I don't know if you guys saw this video that I put out to the Tectum Global group, but I talked about this and how important it was that you catch the worm. Very, very important. So I want you to be thinking about that while I'm talking about this. There's a simple approach. Let's talk about that. Very, very simple approach that you can take when you're talking to new prospects. And we're also going to talk about, ideas of where you can find prospects. But before we go into the marketing aspect of that, I really want you to be thinking about how you're going to approach people. And this would have to do with people unless you want to be, maybe you want to go to cold calling business owners. And that's awesome. I mean, if you've got that kind of willingness to get on the phone and just call business owners, because a lot of business owners nowadays, I don't know where you are in the world, but there are a lot of big business owners that are in, like these, I'm talking about these independent business owners, right? You can approach a lot of them, and a lot of them are already into Bitcoin. They're already into crypto, and you could ask them for example, someone who you don't know, you could say, do you know much about Bitcoin? And if that person says, oh yeah, I actually love Bitcoin. I've got a lot of Bitcoin. I buy some of the other cryptos, and boom, you just opened up the conversation. Now you can answer what I call kind of a teaser question, and it's below it.
Hey,
Now,
Mark, before you go there, I'm really sorry to interrupt you, but I think there might be people on the call who don't even realize that there's a referral program built into Tectum, and you might want to let them know one of the benefits of bringing people in is that you can earn. And now that I've said that, you might as well just continue and then go back to that at some point. But
well, and the thing is, and that might be true. That's a good point, but you should have told me that before the call, Dave. So thanks a lot for that one, buddy. But here's the thing. If people don't realize that there's a referral program, it's kind of hard to believe they would be on this call because it is a sales training. And I think most people know that, but if you don't, just remember, there is a way to build a group of referrals in Tectum. And if you don't know about that, then realize you get 10% when you personally refer someone. And if you have someone you bring in that refers someone, you get 5%, and so on and so forth. And it actually goes down 6 people. Okay, so you start at the top. Again, this is a window of time that Tectum is allowing us during the pre-sale to refer people. Okay, so if you don't know that already, now you do. Okay, you can refer people, and in your back office, you can actually look at it. Let me just kind of show you here. I'll just log into my back office real quick to show you guys. Just in case David's right, and some of you aren't familiar with the fact that there is a referral plan. This is my back office. Okay, so if you click on partners and you click on referral report, this is in about 8 to 9 weeks. This is what I've been able to do. I've got about 525 people in my 6 levels. Okay, you can see your report here. So if you click on that, you can go down 50 people at a time. So if I were to click this, it's basically going to pull up what's happening in my group, right? So this would be the 4th person from me, like a fourth level, so to speak. 5th level, you can see 1st level. So you can see things basically happen in order of date and how that's actually happening. You guys can just see my own personal group. But that's basically how you can track that. But let's get back to the approach, okay? Because if you're going to introduce Tectum to somebody, you really need to know kind of how to break the ice, right? And I think it's really good to just ask someone. Now, if you already know them, then you already know they know a little bit about Bitcoin. So you don't need to ask them that question, obviously, right? So you could actually go up to them and say, would you be interested in a crypto project that's going to literally eliminate fees and slow processing times, making Bitcoin payments for the masses free and instant? Okay, now if someone knows anything about Bitcoin, and they hear that we're eliminating the fees and slow processing times, and we're making payments to the masses, right? For the masses, free and instant, I would think they would want to know about that. And if they say no to that, like, nah, I'm not interested. Do you go any further? No, don't waste your time, okay? And if you guys want to write that down, I'm going to leave this up for you for a second. This is being recorded, so you're going to be able to go back to the recording anyway, but let me leave that up for a second. You can write that down if you like it. And I also want to kind of open up the call just real quick, just during the middle of this call. I want to open it up, and I want you to unmute yourself for one reason, though, not to ask questions right now. This is not for questions. We'll have questions later. But right now, if we have anybody that's good at referring people, and that includes you, Dave, because you're a great marketer. If you have any ideas about what would be a really good opening question, okay, if you guys have any ideas that you want to come up with, this is the one I've come up with. Is there anybody out there that can make this even better? Because I know there's better minds than me out there. Who can do it? Anybody?
Well, what's your opener first?
This is it. Are you watching the screen?
Yeah, but I don't see it on the. Oh, my thing was
right
opened
there.
up too wide.
That's my opening. Okay. Does anybody have any ideas on how they can make it better?
Well, I do ask one question that seems to get people interested, and it kind of lets me know their level of understanding about crypto. But I typically say, I ask them if they have or currently own any crypto. If I know they do, or if they tell me they do, I ask them, what do you think the biggest problem with crypto is today? And hold on a second. My wife's phone was going off. Sorry.
Okay.
And they come up with different reasons. Rarely do they say, it's a store of value, but it's not truly a currency like it was designed to be. And that's,
Mhm.
I mean, that's really the answer. And that's how I kind of
Okay,
approach
so the
people.
answer is what again?
The answer that I give them is that, you know, crypto, especially Bitcoin, it's a great store of value, as Satoshi created it to be. But the problem is it's not actually a useful, it's not a currency because you can't go anywhere and use it. So all it really is at this point is a store of value. That's the biggest problem with crypto. And then I kind of parlay that into Tectum and you know, and how we solve that problem by bridging, from crypto to retail, and
Yeah.
allowing for mass adoption.
Okay, good. And for those of you that want to take notes, go ahead and write that down. These are good ideas. That's great. So I think that's a great question to probably answer someone who says, I'm really interested. What's this about? And you might say, well, let me ask you this. What do you think is the biggest problem with crypto today? What's the biggest problem? And you might even go further. You might, unless you like the way Dave said it, or you might say, what do you think is holding Bitcoin back from mass adoption? Right? Think about that. What do
That's
you
good
think
too.
is holding Bitcoin back from mass adoption right now? And man, does that lead right into what Tectum is doing with the soft node, doesn't it? I mean, that is just, to me, I think perfect, which is also why I'm here. That's why we're here. And if you don't know why you're here, I just told you, that's why you're here. So think about that. And these are just simple approaches. Now, let's say you get them to bite and they're like, yep, I'm really interested. What are you talking about? What you got? Okay. What I recommend right now as a sales tool is you get them on the recorded Zoom that was done on the 23rd of May that I did. And you can find that at tectumzoom.com. So whenever you send a person somewhere, I want you to send them to, I'm going to put it out here, tectumzoom.com. Send them to that because that's where I am going to always put the most up-to-date overview for you to share with your referrals. So every single referral that you ever have, just say, man, you got to check this out. Just go to this website, tectumzoom.com. Let them click on it. And it's going to take them right to the video. And I think that makes it a great tool. It makes it really easy and simple for you to share. And then what you do is once they get to that overview, follow up. There's fortune in follow up. Okay. So you want to get to the follow up. Now, there's a way to follow up. Okay. If you feel comfortable calling them up, answering their questions, and that's your thing, that's the best thing you can do. But if you don't, if you're like most people and you feel like I'm not going to answer questions, I really don't like you cringe when you think of the follow up, right? You want them just to be sold, come in and just buy their tokens and you don't have to say a word. Well, I understand that. Not everybody's a salesperson and that's fine. But what you want to do in the following step for to bring them in is tell them to come to the next AMA on Monday night. Or if you can get to the person who brought you into this and they can answer their questions. And that could lead all the way to me personally if you want it to. So that's basically your approach. Again, first thing you do is you get them to the recorded Zoom by sending them to tectumzoom.com. Then you bring them to the person unless you if you feel like you can answer the questions and you feel versed in this and you feel really good about it, by all means, call them up, answer their questions. But a lot of times, even if you can answer their questions, it's still good to bring them to the next AMA or the recorded AMA if it's appropriate, right? But bring them to a place where they can ask their questions if they have questions. And if you can't get a hold of the person who referred you or they're not helpful to you, try to find me if you can. I'm on every AMA pretty much, and you can bring them to ask questions on that Monday. And I know it's only once a week. I'm sorry that's the case, but I will try to be available for you if I can be. I can't promise that I can be at all times. I got a life too, but that's what I want you guys to think of in terms of your approach. Okay, so think of that. We talked about vision and why it's so important to have that proper vision. And the vision really is kind of like I said before. It has to do with seeing out in front of what's ahead, not necessarily try to find that picture. Try to see down the road, right? Don't get so distracted by the market. That's what the market will do. If you don't have a vision of what this company will be, and it doesn't have to happen in 2 weeks, it doesn't have to happen in 2 months. We're looking down the road, right? We don't know when things are going to absolutely explode. We have no idea. We can't say when critical mass will hit and Tectum is going to blow up to $100,000 or, I should say $100 token, $1,000 token, multi-billion dollar market cap. Nobody knows exactly when that's going to happen, but you got to have a vision that it's going to happen, right? And believe in that vision. Otherwise, you're going to get distracted. You're going to get distracted not only with the current market conditions or how much the soft cap has been moving, right? Or life in general, like what's on TV. If you don't have a vision, you're going to be distracted by just about anything and everything that you can be distracted by. So you've really got to have that vision, and that's what's so important. So make sure that you develop that vision. And let me tell you, if you don't have a concrete, belief and vision, then go back to the recorded AMA overview, go back to tectumzoom.com and watch it again. Take notes, ask questions, ask the tough questions. If you got doubts, you need to bring it to the surface, remove those doubts. And don't be thinking that because you think that this is just a big risk that you can't tell people that what you're going to do is you're going to bring in people and they're going to decide whether or not they want to take that risk. You let them know everything has a risk to it, right? I mean, nobody can tell the future. So be thinking about it that way. Now let's get into ways to find prospects. Okay. Now, not necessarily marketing yet, but let's talk about thinking of any investors that you know first. Don't jump right into the cold market just because you're afraid to talk to people that and you're afraid that what if it doesn't work out, then it's my fault. I mean, you can't be thinking that way. And I'll admit there's even some contacts that I've got that I'm not talking about because I know them and I know that they're not just risk averse people. They're not those kind of people. I'm not going to go to my uncle or my cousin, or I'm not going to go to anybody and everybody, but I'm talking about investors. Okay. So if you know someone that's an entrepreneur, an independent minded person, an investor, you should be putting that person on your list and just having them watch the overview. Just say, man, I just want you to watch this and see what you think. And if you let them off the hook, because this will make it easier for you to share it. Let them off the hook and say, if you're not interested, that's fine. No problem. I just want you to see it because I'm involved. I bought these tokens. They're in a pre-sale right now. The price is unbelievable for what I think is the potential. And just have them watch the Tectum Zoom. Why not? All they can say is no. Who cares? Don't worry about rejection. Don't take it personally. Don't be upset if someone's going to thinking whether or not someone's going to say no. And let me tell you something. I say that to the beginner as much as I say to the expert, because even I still to this day sometimes cringe when I think of certain contacts, because I'm wondering, are they going to say no? Are they going to reject me? Because it's easy to get rejected from people that you don't really care about that much. For me anyway, if that's kind of how I feel about it. I don't know if you can relate to that, but the people that you really care about, like if I'm going to call up my friend David Track, I really hope he says yes. I've got that mindset of like, I hope he really likes this.
No.
And exactly. And so it's funny, David actually introduced me to Tectum. So he's probably really glad I said yes. But, yes. And he probably wasn't worried about whether I'd say no, because he doesn't care. But the thing about it is this, you really should develop the mindset that you don't care. You really should. And if you have an inclination that you do care, you should fight that inclination. Don't give in to it. Don't give in and think, well, they might say no, and just feel like you just got to walk away and not show them. How are you going to hit it if you don't swing? I know that's a baseball analogy, but I'm a baseball guy. But that's kind of the reality of it. You can't hit it if you don't swing. And you never know what's going to happen. So don't judge a book by its cover and don't judge your prospects. That has to do with people that you know. Now, let's talk about some other ideas and the fact that there's strength in numbers. The truth is, nobody's going to build this business talking to one person. Okay, you're going to have to go through the numbers. There's rejection involved. You're trying to save up as many Tectum tokens you can before we launch on the exchange. You're trying to build up as many as you can. I just showed you my back office briefly. You can see I've got well over 33,000 tokens and growing. And if you ever start to wonder, and get a vision, the vision of what this can become will propel you, will motivate you, right? Your motivation should be two things. Number one, it should be, how much you can actually help the other person if you get them into Tectum this early. You should be thinking about, man, I'm doing people a favor. You really are. When you, because let me tell you something, if you go big into Tectum, let's say you got, several hundred tokens or even several thousand tokens, right? And Tectum grows to a market cap, like I always like to mention, kind of like where Tron is, of 7 billion, 7.6 billion. That means every token minimum, okay, it's probably going to be a lot more, but minimum is going to be $760+ per token. And then you're buying your beautiful car, your nice new house, and your friend's like, what happened? And you're like, oh yeah, man, I got into this thing. It's called Tectum, bought it a few months back, maybe several months back, whatever it is. And he's going to be like, what the heck? Why didn't you tell me? Right? I mean, isn't that what you would tell him? Wouldn't you be pretty pissed off at him if he didn't tell you? He or she? You probably would, right? So think about that. Put yourself in their shoes. Do them a favor. Let them see it. They can always say no. Let them say no. Fine. Then you can rub it in later, right? But you can't rub it in if you don't share it. And you can't help your friends if you don't give them an opportunity. And that's what I did. When I first got into this thing, there's a reason why I have over 500 people in my group, because I and I'm still doing it to this day. I'm still telling people. I mean, I've personally sold like 40,000 tokens just in the last week myself. Well, not 40, probably about 35,000 tokens or so myself. And I'm still going. Like I've got over 500 people and growing. And I'm still telling new people, still bringing on new investors. And the thing that's really neat, I just brought in a new investor recently who I think is going to have a huge impact. Like I think he's going to bring a lot of people. And so I'm going to make even more tokens, right? That you can leverage off the efforts of other people. So that's the second reason you want to do this, is because you only have that short window of time. And if you don't start sharing this thing, you're going to end up with a lot less tokens than you could have, and you're going to regret it, But if you're just an investor who wants to buy the tokens and sit back and relax, that's fine. But that's not why you're on this call. You're on this call to really think about and figure out how you can meet new people. Another thing is social media. So let's talk about where you can find it. There's strength in numbers. What if you could just introduce 10 people a day to Tectum between now and the time we hit the exchange? Okay, maybe you think that's too many, maybe 5 a day. Okay, at the end of a month, that's 150 people you've introduced to Tectum. In 30 days, 5 a day. 5 a day is not a lot. I mean, just write it down. Just put down a little marker, a little kind of like a little checkbox. I've kind of like I've got a little notepad that I keep a lot of times in front of you. Can't see that very good. The camera's not picking up. Sorry, it disappears. Anyway, I've got a little pad here, and I make a little notch, and I try to personally, I've been trying to at least talk to, not introduce, because I send out texts, I send out emails, I send out things like that. That's different. I'm talking about talk to at least, me personally, I try to talk to at least 10 people minimum. That's what I try to do. I don't always do it, sometimes more, sometimes less, but I try to set that goal, because by doing that, there's strength in numbers, there's safety in numbers. And if you tell enough people, I mean, think about it. If you tell 5 and they all reject you, I understand that's going to happen, right? But it's going to be pretty hard for them all to reject you if you go to 150 people. And any one of those people, you never know, could come in and tell the next person, because they happen to know this really big influential investor, and they bring in hundreds of people. You just never know when that can happen. So be thinking about that in terms of numbers and being motivated to continue moving forward in the midst of rejection. Think about that. But let's talk about social media. Okay, this is another, I know there's marketing methods out there. There's ways of advertising. You can do all kinds of things out there. Just make sure that they're approved by Tectum. Don't be advertising Tectum to the cold market, like with pay-per-clicks and Facebook ads and things like that, unless you get your ad approved by Tectum. Okay, make sure that they're okay with it, that compliance comes and says, yes, that's fine. Because you got to be really careful. Whenever you promote something like this, you don't want to sell it like it's an investment. I know people are buying Tectum tokens, and I know there's a potential huge reward, but you got to be very careful using the I word. Don't go around saying this is an incredible investment opportunity, and if you invest in this thing, you're going to make 1,000 times your money, and put out projections like that. Guys, I know I give you ideas like that, and I do that on the AMA. I throw out hypothetical scenarios, but I always preface that with the fact that this is not financial advice. You hear me say that, right? That's the reason I say it, especially in a recorded venue like that, where, you know, anybody could see that. And when they see it, you got to make sure you're compliant. So just be thinking about that. But let's talk about an idea here. For instance, Facebook. Now, Twitter, you can't do this as much. I really like Facebook because Facebook is, it's a place where you can find advertising. Okay, and I'll give you guys an example if I can find one. Let's kind of just roll down here and see if we can find an example. I don't really like to go through just my wall, but that's what we're doing right now. Okay, here it is. Okay, bull traders. Anybody can learn how. Now, right now, there's only, this is not a very good example, but there's 3 likes here. You notice these likes? Now, this is just if you want to get really creative and you want to talk to new people almost every day, here's what you want to do. Sorry, guys, I wanted to hide an ad there. Get rid of some of these ads. Okay, so you're looking at these. So you click on these likes there. Each individual one of these people, whoops, hold on, is a potential prospect. These are people that are interested in trading. Okay, interesting. So what if I were to go to any one of these people and just send them a little message, just like this, right? So I pull up Arthur. Here he is. We're not friends, but I could say, hey, Arthur, I see, oh, here, I'll introduce myself. My name is Mark Ross, and I noticed that you have an interest in trading. I wanted to know if you might be interested in a crypto project. And what were we using as that power statement? Let me just pull that up again, make sure I have it right. So we can use, do you know much about Bitcoin? Here we go. Now I can just paste that in. Take just a second. I know this seems tedious at first right now, but believe me, you'll get this down. Matter of fact, you can pretty much set up a template and you can copy and paste this whole thing. So you don't have to type it out, right? You can just grab this thing like this, copy it, and paste it to the next person. But this is a way you can literally, I call it bird dogging, right? You're going all over Facebook and you're meeting new people. And this is, all this was an ad where someone clicked a like button, but the ad happened to do with trading, right? This says Boomer versus Bitcoin, right? Okay. So why couldn't you say, and Dave, let me know if you like, if you've got any better ideas as far as like how to open, but this is just an example, guys. You don't have to do this word for word, but it says, hey, Arthur, my name is Mark Ross, and I noticed that you have an interest in trading. I want to know if you might be interested in a crypto project. Do you know much about Bitcoin? Would you be interested in a crypto project that is going to literally eliminate fees and slow processing times, making Bitcoin payments for the masses free and instant? Okay, so I send that. Boom. Now, once Arthur finally gets the message, he's going to come back to me and say, nah, I'm not interested. Thanks for asking. Or, you know, how did you contact me, or whatever. And if he asks, okay, so how did you find me? You should say, well, I was just perusing my Facebook wall, and I noticed that you happen to be looking at an ad like I was, called Bull Traders, right? And then you just start talking. You can strike up conversations that way. Guys, this works. I'm telling you. This is a way to find very interested people. This Arthur guy, he's interested in Bitcoin. You already know he is, because if he wasn't, why would he have liked the ad? Why did he click the like button? You don't know. So go in there and find out, right? And you have 3 of them to go through here. Now, there's a lot of these ads that will have hundreds of likes, guys, hundreds of them. That's only 3. I'll try to find another one. And ads show up on my wall because, okay, cash out crypto from any wallet instantly. Here we go. Look at that, 1.7K likes. So click on it, and here you go. Boom. One person at a time if you want to. You can just sit there and just go ask them, hey, I noticed that you might even start off with, I noticed that you really liked the cash out crypto. You liked it. So I want to get in touch with you because I found something. And then you approach them that way. This is the numbers game. What if you could do this? Okay. What if you could send this, just copy and paste this little thing right here. What if you could do that to like 20 people a day, 30 people a day, 40 people a day? Maybe you're at home full time. You could do it 100 people a day. What do you think would happen? Eventually, you're going to start striking some very interesting conversations, right? This is for people that feel like they don't have a sphere of influence at all. They don't have a budget to spend money on. They don't know what they're going to do. This is a way that you can actually go on social media. And I think there's no better place than Facebook. And I could give you that technique, and that technique would probably give you a practically endless supply of leads forever. I mean, you never run out of people. And here's what's really neat too. Let's say Arthur goes and likes another ad. You know what's really cool? If you click on his name, it's going to pull up this window and you're going to see that you've already contacted him. So you won't even have to contact the same people twice, because Facebook will keep track of everybody you've ever sent a message to. Tell me that's not a great idea. It really works. I highly recommend that you do it. I've done it myself. It's worked. I haven't had time to do it for Tectum because I still have a huge sphere of influence that I'm still reaching out to. But that's what I do. If my budget was limited and I didn't know where I was going to find people and I didn't have a big sphere of influence, that's what I would do. That's for the person that's like that. And it's really fun, to be honest with you. This is a pretty non-confrontational way to approach people. It's not like you're walking up to them at the grocery store and shaking their hand, right? You're just sending them a simple little message. And all they got to do is just say, oh, no, I'm not interested. Thanks anyway, whatever. Most people will say that. Most people will say, oh, no, thanks, I'm not interested. But some people will be like, yeah, sure, I'll take a look. What do you got? Well, what do? You send them the Tectum Zoom, and there you have it. You've got a prospect looking, you follow up, and that's it. It's really that simple. So it just becomes a numbers game. I want to open up the call to questions. This is what I have for you so far tonight. I want to remind you guys the sense of urgency. Again, we are just weeks away from hitting the exchange. Okay, so you have this window of time to where you can go out there and you can meet people. And so let's just go ahead and kind of open it up for questions and maybe ideas. If there's any good marketers out there that say, hey, here, there's something working for me and you want to share it, please do. But let's just go ahead and open it up. Unmute yourself if you have a question. I'll be happy to answer it for you.
Hey, Mark.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I was listening to the whole call from my car on the way back to my son's house. Great call. But listen, earlier in the call, you were looking for suggestions about how to approach people. So here's a thought that came to my mind. I walk up to somebody, I say, listen, do you have any idea how many millionaires were made with Bitcoin?
Good.
Whatever.
Good.
Okay, the answer is over 100,000. More than enough to fill any Major League Baseball stadium to capacity twice.
Wow.
Over 100,000 millionaires were created by Bitcoin, and lots of billionaires too. And do you know how all those people got rich? They were at the right place at the right time. And here's the kicker. Most of them did not invest a lot of money. And let me give you an example. Let's just go back 10 years ago when Bitcoin was 25 cents. A $200 investment would have gotten you 800 Bitcoin, which today are worth over $24 million. Now, if I could show you a $200 investment that has the potential to return Bitcoin-like returns, would you be interested in hearing about it? That's going to be my open.
Awesome. That's excellent. And the thing is, Bill, you're a great salesperson. And I think coming from you, that's fantastic. And I also think that there's people that could kind of use some of that language in what I was just showing you earlier, but just take that for what it's worth there. And thank you for sharing that, Bill. We really appreciate it, man. That's awesome.
My pleasure.
Anybody else have any great ideas or ideas that they want to bounce off? Maybe you don't know if it's a great idea and you want to introduce it and see if we like it or not. Maybe we can give you some advice. Anything. That's what I'm here tonight for, guys. We're just talking shop. Let's just leave it. I'm going to open it up. And I want you guys to ask your questions, ask the tough questions. And remember, this is as it pertains to finding new people. I'm not here to answer technical, questions about Tectum right now or the soft note right now. Like, we're not getting into that tonight. All we're talking about is how to reach people, how to influence people, right? And how to save up and build more tokens. That's what we're here for. Anybody want to talk at all? Is there anybody else out there? Don't be shy. And it's okay if you just came here to soak up information tonight. That's fine. If that's why you're here. But some of you are holding back some good stuff. I know it. There's some people on here that know some good stuff.
I'd like to hear from John Phillips down there by the Panama Canal. John, if you could, John Phillips, why don't you say hello to everybody?
Hey,
John.
how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I didn't, back to what Bill was saying, one of the things I like to say is, did you miss out on Bitcoin? We now have a second opportunity to get in when Bitcoin was 10 years ago. Something along that line.
Awesome. Yep. Good stuff.
I have a
Thanks,
question
John.
here. I have people that signed up but haven't put money in, and I keep email dripping on them, and I know some of them maybe are a little tight on money and everything.
Sure.
And a lot of it is us older people aren't real good with crypto, so we need to do the wire transfer. But any suggestions how what to say to somebody that's already registered but hasn't put money in?
The best thing you can do is to keep dripping on them and keep getting them on the AMA. Right now, just tell them, watch the latest Zoom, get on the tectumzoom.com. A lot of times I think, okay, so if a person sets up a wallet and doesn't buy any tokens, it's going to be one of two reasons, primarily. Okay, I know there's a lot of little reasons, but one of two. Either one, they just don't have the funds right now, or two, they haven't really done their due diligence. They haven't really watched it and understand it. Because I know for all of us, and David has reminded me, that we're all in the same boat when it comes to Bitcoin. We all miss Bitcoin, and there's a reason. The biggest reason we missed it is because we didn't sit down and really try to understand it. We did. I mean, when I was first introduced to Bitcoin, I know that it was probably, I'm not kidding you, I can't even say what the price was when I first even heard the words uttered, Bitcoin. I know I think it was 2011, and I was just sitting at my computer, and I think I saw somebody chatting about it on a thread or something. And I was just like, whatever, I don't know what that is. I didn't even you can't look at everything, right? You only have so much time in a day. But it taught me a lesson. It really taught me a lesson. And so, like, I've had people that I know that I'll send a text to them, and they'll be like, I'll say, I have a really great crypto project. You got to take a look at it. And they're like, been there, done that. Because how many thousands and thousands of crypto projects are out there right now, right? There's thousands of them. But I always go back in my mind and I think, man, I so wish that because when I really kind of like got the mindset of like, okay, there's a Bitcoin thing going on. It was $300 a coin, $300. And my first, a lot of you have probably already heard me say this, I just thought it was a Ponzi scheme. I thought someone invented this currency. Who are they to invent a currency and me buy it from them and use it? I'm not going to make them rich just because they invented some currency. Heck with them. I thought it was ridiculous, but I didn't understand blockchain. So I'm sure you can relate to that. Nobody sat you down and told you what the blockchain was, how it was unique, how it doesn't need the banks and financial institutions and governments to regulate it and verify it, that it's its own trustless entity and source of value, right? That's an incredible concept if somebody would have just sat us down and explained it, right? But they didn't do that. Nobody did that for me. I can't speak for you, but I'll bet they didn't do it for you either. So when someone at first rejects me without knowing anything, I like to tell them, look, I know you've heard of Bitcoin, right? I said, this company, Tectum, is revolutionary because they're going to make Bitcoin a currency again. Like, they're going to make it so that there's no fees, there's no processing times. They're going to make Bitcoin free and instant for their users, and it's going to bring about Bitcoin mass adoption. It's going to make history. You got to learn about this thing. So I try to get into their minds about it a little bit. I don't just take that first no for an answer. And that's kind of what I do with some of my warm contacts. Now, that doesn't include what we would do, as I mentioned before, whenever you're approaching cold market. That's a little different, right? You throw out the hook, and if they don't bite, you're done. There's no reason to waste time with cold market people. You don't even know them anyway, right? But I was just talking about if you know a person and they're like, this person's got some money, or man, maybe you know someone who doesn't have a lot of money, but you know they could come up with a couple $100. It's possible a couple $100 could possibly change their life. You know, that's a possibility. So you want to make sure that they find out about it. Hopefully that helps you guys. Anybody else have anything that they want to add or questions? Anything at all out there?
Hey, Mark, I just want to add one last observation.
Sure.
Last night we had a gentleman on the call, an Asian gentleman named Bao, B-A-O. He seemed to be pretty knowledgeable about crypto. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, he was here actually and he left, but yeah.
Okay. Well, all I can say is this, is that I think a year from now, when he sees the price of Tectum tokens, Bao will be saying, wow.
Bow wow, that's right. He actually said that himself too. I'm not insulting the guy's name, guys. He actually did that himself when he first introduced himself. He goes, yeah, my name is Bow, like Bow Wow.
Yeah,
anyway, he's a great guy. He seems like a great guy, and I hope he keeps coming to the calls. Anybody else?
I like listening to Bao. He's very, very informative, educational, and funny.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And he laughs too. He's got a good sense of humor. I like that. So anybody else? Anything else? Bill Singleton, you don't have anything? Celine. Oh my gosh, Celine, I'm so sorry. Hold on, Celine.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble hearing you. Just a second. Celine, I don't know if you can hear me, but let me see if you're here, Celine. Just a second. Okay, Celine, I'm having trouble hearing you. Barely.
Can you hear me?
I can, but barely.
God. Let me see. I'm in my car on my Bluetooth, so maybe that.
Can you hear me?
I'm starting to hear you now. Yes.
Yeah, I'm in my car my Bluetooth. So
okay.
I couldn't wait to get home, so I had to pull over and listen to this training. I have somebody on the call. Her name is Dorothy. She's new. She doesn't know anything about Tectum, but she's an investor, open-minded. So I wanted to invite her. So she doesn't know what Tectum is all about.
Okay.
For someone like that, and I know this is training, and for other people that I'm about to talk to, because when I got onboarded by Miss Alive, Peter, all I wanted to do is just make my own, run it quietly, and but now,
right,
I'm looking at this as an opportunity for people to get in this very early, before the coin launches. And if somebody has $100, how much TET can they get? This is for the benefit of my guests on the call.
Well, here's what I want you to think about. There is a minimum purchase requirement of 100 tokens, which would be $200 actually. So just know that you need to buy at least 100 whenever you first purchase. Make that first purchase. Otherwise, you can't refer people. Now, I don't know. I
already bought some.
What's that?
I have some TET.
Oh no, I knew you did, but I'm speaking just on behalf of your friends. Oh, okay. So if they want to be able to refer people, they have to be able to do that. Now, I think, and maybe David, you could tell me if I'm wrong, but I think you have to purchase. I think your first purchase has to be 100, or you can't buy any. But maybe you can go in and buy 50. I'm not sure.
No. It's 100 minimum. You were right.
It is 100. Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
But once you buy 100, then you can buy as little or as much as you want, from the way I understand it. So just letting them know that. But I would say that, and I'm sorry, we don't have time tonight to go into soft notes and what everything is, but I would tell you, just get them on tectumzoom.com, as much as you can. That's going to help explain everything. If they go through that webinar, I know it's kind of long. I get it. We all have short attention spans, and I'm no different. I have a short attention span, but we've got to fight to listen to that. Tell people that. Say, fight to listen to this, okay? Because if they get through the first 20, 30 minutes, they're going to stay on. They're gonna be like, whoa, they're gonna be like, okay, this is incredible. It's amazing. People can easily go to the theater and watch a 2 or 3 hour movie, but they have trouble learning about something that can completely change their life financially forever, right? It's funny how we are, and we're all that way. We are all that way. Most of us, not all of us. I know people that have the patience of an alligator, but I'm not one of them. I'm not the most patient person. I need to work on that virtue, but it is a good overview. I think it's very informative. And then, like I said, with the approach, just bring them to the person who brought you. And if they can't answer it, keep going up until you find somebody like me who can answer it, right? And I want to be there for you guys as much as I can, but I've got a group of, over 500 people, and there's probably 1,500 active members in Tectum right now, which is nothing, but it's more than I can handle by myself, right? So I hope that helps you. Does that help you?
Yeah, to a certain extent, yes. I just wanted her to get excited. That's all.
How to get excited? Go back and watch the Tectum Zoom.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
And
go back and watch that. Stay on the AMAs.
Right. As far as the referral, like if I signed her up today,
yeah.
How many TETs can I get?
You can get 10%. So if she buys 100 tokens, you'll get 10 free tokens.
Okay.
Yeah. So it goes like this. It's everybody you personally refer is 10%, right? So if they buy 1,000, you're going to get 100. If they buy 100,000, you're going to get 10,000, right? Now, if they refer someone, you're going to get 5%. So if they refer someone who gets 100, you get 5 tokens. And if that person refers someone, you get 4%, 3%, 2%, 1%. So it's like 6 levels. Does that make sense? And when I say that, I know a lot of people think, oh, this is some MLM program. This is not an MLM program, because you're not getting paid fiat currency. You're not getting paid commissions for this. You're getting paid a reward in referral bonuses of Tectum tokens. So this is your window. This is your opportunity between now and the time we get on the exchange, which I think is going to come probably around the end of July, if not sooner. It really depends. So
when we get on the exchange, can you still refer and get referral? No. Yes or no?
It's a great question, because I don't think so. It doesn't make sense that people will, but it's possible. I don't know. I mean, I don't see it happening after we get on the exchange.
I don't see how we could, Mark, because we're not going to be selling tokens directly, right?
Exactly.
We'll be on the exchange.
Yeah. Right.
So I don't see how it would work.
That's why this incentivize people to get in before it gets on the exchange.
Get going.
Yeah.
Get going, because
that's right.
We'll never have an opportunity like this again. I mean, the soft note is going to revolutionize crypto. You want to be in now, and you want to refer as many people as you can. I mean, there's a lot of people that could only afford a few tokens. You could only afford maybe a few hundred tokens. And so I would tell you guys, this is an opportunity for you. You got nothing to lose. Get them on the tectumzoom.com and let them say yes or no. Who cares? It's not a big deal. Just get. Now, but this is your chance.
Can you sell when the coin gets on the exchange? Can you sell? If you have so many tokens. Can you
personally sell? Yes, you're going to be able to get on the exchange and sell your tokens anytime you want to. It's an open market.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why we're here. Listen, that's what we're excited about, because we think it's very realistic that we could see the Tectum token possibly, again, not financial advice, but could be worth hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in the future per token.
What about at launch on the exchange?
Nobody's gonna. I'm not gonna give you any projections on that. I have no idea. No idea.
Okay.
I'm gonna let it play out just like you are. I'm here just like you are when it comes to that. Yep.
All right. Okay.
Great. Thanks for coming on. Awesome. Great to have your interaction.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Celine.
Hey, Marat, it's Bow Wow.
Hey, Bow Wow.
I did get. I did come back. Sorry.
Great to have you.
Hey, Marat. I have a reverse on my group, so I don't see any reverse program. I got the rewards token.
Okay, so your question was what?
I refer some of my friend, like.
Okay.
I got a group like 15, 16 people. I refer them. I don't see any reward token on my account.
Okay, so you don't see them coming in?
I don't see them coming in at all, because I see, but so if round 2 I have if my group buy 100,000 token.
Wow.
Or
Awesome.
you have something, not yet. I asked you have something special, a reverse
Oh,
program.
I thought you said you did. Okay.
Not yet.
Okay. So here's my question is this. You've gone into your back office and you've clicked on partners. Let me share my screen real quick. Tell me if you've done this. Have you gone into your back office to look for your referrals?
Okay. Hold on, eat right.
So if you log in, it should take you to your back office. Are you watching the screen, Bao?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So you look here and you click on right here where it says partners. Click on that. You click on referral report. Have you done that?
I did right now. I say number 0 person.
Okay, if you've referred people, go ahead.
Okay, sorry.
This is your referral link right here. Okay, have you sent your referral link to your referrals?
I think when someone give me refer that link, so I give that link to all of my friends. That's why
Okay.
I didn't know this link is mine. So I knew now.
Right. Okay. But you did click on the referral report and you didn't see this right here, number of referrals. You're saying it says 0?
0, because I know what you mean, because I get the link, someone refers me to my friend. That's why I didn't know, like I had to go to my account and get a link to refer my friend, so.
Okay, so you didn't know that.
So
now, here's what you do. If that happened to you, I want you to contact support. And I want you to let support know that you have referrals that went to the company link and signed up and you want to get credit for them, and they will give you credit.
Oh, so I give them my friend username, password or something, so they find out.
What you do is you find out their ID, you go to your friend and say, okay, what's your ID number? Okay. And then you go to support on the Telegram and you say, hey, I referred this person. You give them their email address and their Tectum ID number, and you let them know that you referred that person and you never got credit for that person. And then that way they'll put you in, they will take that person and they will place him in your group so that you'll get, yeah. So you can fix that. That's not unfixable. And if you got like 15, 16 people, sounds like you got some tokens coming to you.
So let's see, if I go talk to my group, I invest around like $2. So let's see, we come up $100,000. You have something for my group?
You got someone coming in tomorrow, you said?
It's not tomorrow, but I can come back and talk to my group about, like we can buy another round, like $2.
Yes.
It's not discount, right?
No, not right now. It's $2.
Yeah, buy $100,000.
Send me an instant message. Hey, Bao, here's what I want you to do. I want to start working with you a little closer. Send me an instant message on Telegram, and my Telegram is Mark Ross Winning. That's MARK.
Can you
ROSS.
Can you check on here for me so I can
get? I'll put it on the chat right now. I'll put my Telegram on the chat. Oh, someone actually just asked for it. Here we go. Okay.
I'd just like to throw a little pointer in, and everybody needs to listen up to what Bao, and by the way, Bao, welcome back. It's great to have you back on the call. What Bao is the situation he's experiencing. I had that happen in my group to a couple of people. Everyone listen up very carefully, because when you sponsor people, I would recommend that you're on the phone with them and walking them through it, because if you don't guide them through it, here's what could happen, and here's what has happened, and here's what's very preventable. So you just send them your link and they click on the link. It opens up a video at the top, your 4-digit ID number, and there's a box that says enter a valid email address. So they enter their valid email address and then they click the button that says sign up. However, what they're supposed to do when they get a message to do this, what they're supposed to do next is to go to their email and to retrieve the temporary password that is emailed to them by Tectum. there are some people that are skipping that, and here's what happens. They go and try and log, there's a sign up, and then they go to try and sign in. When they go to try and sign in with that same email that they just signed up with, but did not get the temporary password in their email, so they go click on sign in, and they get a message. This email is already in the system or already in use. So most people have more than one email, so they just use another email and they sign up with another email. And when they try to, they make up a password and it says, and it doesn't work, so they click on forgot my password, and what happens is they wind up getting enrolled direct to the company. Make sure that doesn't happen by walking them through the enrollment. They put their name in the box, they click on sign up. And I'm sorry, they put their email and a valid email address in the box. They click on sign up. And the next thing they absolutely have to do is go get the temporary password from Tectum. If they don't do that, they're not going to wind up underneath you. That's the big problem that can be easily avoided.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that. Fortunately, we haven't had that problem very much. I'm thankful. And they made a few changes on the referral link to make sure it doesn't happen, but it still can happen. I know it's been happening a little bit, but thanks for that feedback, Bill. Okay, I've got it, guys. I've sent you guys my Telegram, so you have it. And if you guys, what I want you to do is I want you to use me for your big dogs. If you got a big investor and you want to get on a group Zoom, make sure, all I ask is you make sure that they've seen the Tectum Zoom, and then you bring them to me, and I'll be happy to. If they're a big investor. Now, guys, I only have so much time in a day, right? So please don't bring me someone that's going to buy 100 tokens, okay? Bring me somebody who's like, man, I'm serious. I got a Bitcoin to put in this thing, or half a Bitcoin, or, like serious people. And I'm happy to answer their questions, talk to them. And who knows, I might even get them on the phone with Alex if it merits, if it's possible, okay? If it makes sense, if it's feasible and all that. So
how much big do you think is a big investor to you?
I would say anybody that's willing to put in more than $10,000, I'm simply willing to talk to them.
I have a lot of people that 10,000 nothing. So you
let's talk me. Bow wow, baby. Let's go. Bring it on.
No, bow 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 not
yeah, baby. That's right. Let's go. Let's go.
There you go.
Bring them to me, man. I'm here to help you. Listen, you get them on the Zoom. You bring them to me. We'll knock them down. I'll do the best I can for you, buddy.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Awesome to have you. Thanks.
Awesome.
Hey, Mark, I do have one last question. This is really for David. I was on the call last night, and I understand, David, you were talking about how one of your responsibilities is going to be working with setting up the merchant accounts. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
Somebody asked me today, they said, what if I go out and I talk to a business owner? He's got a big store, maybe a couple of stores, chain stores, and he wants to be able to, set up a merchant account. Is there going to be any kind of referral for people who refer you to businesses that want to set up a Tectum merchant account?
Great question, and the answer is absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to be creating a channel sales department, and we'll have ISO agents, just like we do in the merchant world. So we'll be following a similar playbook, and you'll be able to earn in perpetuity for every time that somebody pays using crypto.
This is unbelievable. Do you realize you're going to have every Tom, Dick, and Harry in this who owns Tectum and has a Tectum wallet, who's aware of that, and who's an entrepreneur, is going to be knocking on the doors of every business in town. That's phenomenal. And I'm sure you'll be more details on that coming up, I'm sure.
Yes,
exactly. And that's
down the
exactly
road,
right.
you're thinking ahead, Bill. I like it. You're thinking ahead. You got a vision. Good job.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
Is there a script that we could use to sign up merchants? And can this be for like doctors who have clinics?
In the future. This is down the road. Like what you're asking about right now is a little bit too far ahead to get going into detail right now. But in the future, as we develop, yes, you'll have access to stuff like that. We'll make sure you do.
Right, but as far as signing up the merchants in the future, we may not get the override. You know what I mean?
No,
you'll be able to at that point. That's a totally different structure. It's got nothing to do with selling tokens. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll create a back office. People can log in. They can get all the PDFs and information needed to to go out and market, absolutely, we'll have a complete channel sales department set up. So that's on its way, coming soon.
So you actually get a chance to make money. We are all make money on your own TETs and also overrides, I guess. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. B2B sales. People can get out there and use their sphere of influence, knock on doors, however they want to go out and sell this to merchants. But absolutely, we're going to give you the tools to go out there and help build, spread the word to the merchants. So it's in our best interest to make sure you're taken care of as well.
Yep. Anybody else? We're going to conclude this call. We've got I've got a few more minutes. If anybody wants to bring up something last minute, anybody got anything? This was recorded, so I hope that you find this helpful. You can go back to it. Mary, you got a question?
Let me just add one thing. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, just add one thing. If we are working with merchants that are large enough, we have a little room to work with that 1%, just so you guys know. So we're going to have enterprise pricing as well.
Good stuff.
Hey, Mark, Bill Singles.
Yep.
I got something I want to bounce off the crew here that I was just thinking about. It just hit me a few minutes ago. With the economy the way it is, and everybody living pretty much, not everybody, but a lot of people living paycheck to paycheck.
Yep.
Most of them have a 401k, and that 401k has already been diminished probably 15 or 20%. And the rest of this year will likely lose another 10 or 15%.
Right.
What do you think about approaching somebody and saying, if you'll liquidate, say, a small percent of that, 2%, 3%, 5% or whatever, take your tax hickey on it and put it into TETs, and while the rest of your account is diminishing, potentially grow that 2 or 3% that you withdrew that you're going to lose anyway, that might outperform the other 97%.
I mean, that's an idea that you could come up with between you and the people that you know, or maybe people that you've gotten to know. And, it's really between you and them. And it's not a bad idea, but I guess it's just on a case-by-case basis when it makes sense. Why not?
Oh, yeah.
Again, it's just the biggest thing that I do with people is I always tell people, don't risk more than you can afford to lose. Be cautious. But there's people that have that means different things to different people. Some people are risk averse like me. I'm a risky guy. I take risks. I take chances. And sometimes I get burned and sometimes it helps. Sometimes I hit it big. I've hit it big on 3 different cryptocurrencies in my life, but it's only because I was willing to take a chance, but I've also lost my butt on a lot more. There's been a lot of them I've lost money on, but to me, I just accept that as the nature of the game. And I just keep moving forward. But thanks for sharing that, Bill.
Does anybody else have any thoughts on that approach? Anybody
out there? Kind of thinking about rolling some of your 401k into TET token, that's an
excellent hedge. Excellent hedge.
I mean, we think so, don't we? But again, it's always got to be on the preface that this is not financial advice, but this is the opportunity, and there's your opportunity. People can decide.
Yeah, I get all of that, but where I'm coming from is they're going to lose the 2 or 3% anyway. I mean, the odds are 99%, in their favor, that they're going to lose that.
I mean, it's all speculation. You know,
It's
who knows?
speculation and
Right.
whatever, but I don't know, just a thought.
Yeah, just a thought, and that's good. Thoughts are good. Anybody else have anything they want to add before we conclude the call?
Mark, it's
Yes.
Mary.
Hey, Mary.
So I've got some Tectum that I would like to gift to my granddaughter and my grandson.
Yeah.
Is there a way to do it without having to go back through the Bitcoin, or can you do Tectum to another account?
Yeah, you can send your Tectum token to someone else's Tectum wallet. So they just set up their wallet. Let me do another screen share real quick, and this will conclude our call.
Okay.
So let me share real quick. Just show you. Okay, can you guys see this okay?
Yes.
You go to your dashboard. You see your Tectum wallet right here?
Yes.
That's your, okay, now this is your, let me make sure that's right. So I want to make sure that's right. Hold on a second. So we click on Tectum token right here. We click on this. This is your Tectum token wallet. This is the Tectum coin wallet. So don't get that confused. The Tectum coin wallet is here. The Tectum token wallet is obviously where your balance is, right? So you obviously aren't going to use that other one. So here it is, and it'll say TET, guys. If it says TEC, make sure you don't use that. Let me go back, just make sure you understand it. If you click on that and it says TEC, it's not that. So don't copy this address here. That's not your Tectum token address. That's the TEC address. Just want to make sure everybody understands that, okay? So I'm going to go back and I'm going to click my Tectum token wallet. You have, this is going to be their wallet. So even if they don't have any tokens, they can go in, they can find their address right here. They'll click this button right here. Mary, can you see that?
Yes.
Click that. They're going to paste it and send it to you. And you use that address to send them Tectum tokens. You click on here where it says send right here.
Right.
You put in their address right here, right? You put in the amount that you want to put in.
Right.
There like that. And then you send it right here. Okay.
Gotcha.
Does that answer that question?
It does. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. All right, guys. Great having you guys on. I hope you guys enjoyed the call. I hope it was beneficial to you. We're going to end it right now. And I just want to say have a great rest of the week. And we will see you guys on the next Zoom. We'll see you all. Have a great night. Have a great week.
Thanks, Mark. Next
Thank
day.
you, everybody.
Bet, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.